So this weekend I've been in the Wisdom Unlimited course with Landmark, and my homework assignment overnight was to think about if I were to have dinner with five people, any people that I wanted to, and I could talk about anything, what would it be? I was thoughting, and some of my thoughts were I'd like to talk about education. I'd like to talk about whether we're in the right place, if we're where we want to be as, say, a nation or a world. People I would want to talk to that would actually know something about it and that I would trust. And if I was asking for advice, maybe for what what I can do as an individual to impact the education system. So a couple of people I came up with were Tim Ferriss. He is author of the 4 Hour Work Week, 4 Hour Body, 4 Hour Chef. He has a website called the 4 Hour Blog, as well as a pretty well-known podcast, the Tim Ferriss Show. On the show, and he describes it as deconstructing them. So he interviews them one at a time and finds what is similar about them all and what kind of habits do they have, what kind of things they do. So I think he has a good idea of what it takes to perform. I think he has an idea of what world-class citizens, performers have in common and what is in their education that maybe more of us could have, such that we could even the top 0.1% of people to the rest of the 99%. The second person I think I would want to have is Elon Musk. I love talking about him. I love what he's been up to. He is the CEO for Tesla and SpaceX, and he's a board member of Solar City. Tesla is a company making electric cars, and the goal is to change the way that the automotive industry impacts global warming. SpaceX, his main goal is to inhabit Mars, and to one of his recent successes has been building a reusable rocket that does not blow up and fall to the ground. It's controlled to the ground so it can be used again. So I have read his biography, and I think that he's had an interesting upbringing, and I think his vision is what I would really find helpful inside of the conversation. The third person I would want to have for dinner is Malala. She is a speaker for women's education. She was hunted down by Al Qaeda and shot in the face and survived because when they said that we refuse to educate women, she said, "No, I'm gonna keep learning." And she's recently won I believe, a Nobel Peace Prize. I think she has an idea of the world that I don't, and I think she would offer a really interesting perspective versus I feel like I probably have a less worldly view of education. The next person I think I would want to have is Oprah. I think she is a really strong voice. I think she would again offer a different perspective or point of view that I would not have as a black female. I really respect her. I've read her book, and I think that the way she lives her life is really spectacular. I think that if people were educated the way that she's educated herself, I think we would be a lot happier of a world. And the kind of influence she's had in the world, she might also have an idea of what direction education is going in and what she would want to see more of or less of, or just the general direction of. I think the next person I would want to have is probably Obama. So he's ran the country for the past 8 years almost, and I think he would probably have the best idea of what kind of actions to take in terms of making a difference, and I think he would have an idea of how well our education system is working. The other person I think I would invite is Darren Hardy. Was the publisher of Success Magazine. He's the author of The Compound Effect and I think it's the Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. He was earning six figures by 18, millionaire by 25, and owning a company making $100 million a year by 30. So I think he really understands business. I think he probably really understands economics and how to be successful in this world. And I think that if people could understand how to do what he did, I think, well, I know some people do, but I think if the other 99% of people were educated the way he was, our country might look different. The reason I think I would want to talk about education with these people is that I think that we as a country could be doing education better. We're in a culture that really loves sports. We really love professional athletes. Like, they're our role models, and all we know about them is that they're good at sports. We grow up in a place where divorce is climbing through the roof. Divorce has never looked the way that it does right now in history. And I think that there are other things that are more valuable than learning how to do math really, really well. For example, how to have a long-lasting relationship, how to effectively communicate, how to give up your point of view about something, how to settle a disagreement between a friend or coworker or peer, how to public speak, how to start a project and finish it, how to start a project that you're scared to death of creating because you don't want to be judged by the rest of the world, and finishing it. I think that if those were some of the skills we were learning after high school or after middle school, I think we would have a different looking country. I think that our public system is not designed to teach those specific things. I think they're often embedded in the curriculum that we teach, and it's not necessarily one of the number one goals in terms of what we teach. One of the things that I've had my students do since the beginning of the year so far is we've set goals. Everyone has 3 to 4 one-year goals that they want to complete within 1 year. And every day when they step into class, one of the things I ask them is, what actions have you taken in the past 24 hours to work on one of your 1 year goals? And oftentimes they have no response. Sometimes they said, well, I paid attention in class, and it's because their goal is to make honor roll or something like that. For me, some of my 1 year goals, one of them is to have lesson plans within 20 minutes per class, so that I'm not taking up a really inefficient, large amount of time to create lesson plans. And it's to build a YouTube following, it's to complete an audiobook from this book, and it's to finish off this book and have it published and available on Amazon.com. So when I look at those things, I think that it would be huge if some of my 8th and 6th graders were going after those types of things, that they're personal projects that are interesting to them and that they want to see done, that they want to see completed. And I think that specifically, if everyone had one class where all they were doing was working on some personal project and the teacher was just there to facilitate and help them do anything that they could, just provide anything that they would need to complete something that they wanted to complete, I think that would make a huge difference in what we remember. And I think if we were able to collaborate both street and book smarts into the same curriculum, I think that, again, I think our country would look different. That's it for today. If you want to learn more about this book, you can pre-order it on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Zach Watson author. And if you hit the shop now, you can pre-order the book, and it will be sent to you, a signed copy, via October 7th. Yeah, that's it. Stay weird.